Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Alright, so today we will start with the literature course and we'll start a new chapter in literature, The Ransom of Red Chief, chapter number 10 here. It is on page 92. Okay, so if you see this chapter is about, the story is about a little boy, and this little boy he gets kidnapped and is and he is held for a ransom. What is a ransom? Anyone knows the meaning of ransom? You can tell in your own words. If
Um, money asked on kidnapping.
all right,
Money asked on kidnapping.
all right. So many times what happens? A person is kidnapped because they want a money on behalf of that person. So that money is called as a ransom. So when a person is held uh, as a kidnapped person and money is asked on his behalf, so that is called as a ransom, and it is written by O. Henry. And now his real name was William Sidney Porter, and he was an American writer, and but he is famously known as O. Henry. So he doesn't write with his real name, that is William Sidney Porter, but he writes with his pen name, that is O. Henry, and he's a very famous writer, and his short stories are known for their wit, for the intelligence, for the way the words are used, and the characterization, the way the characters are described. You get in love with the characters, and his stories has a very surprise ending, and this chapter also has a very surprise ending, very interesting one. Okay, so how we will do it? You people will read out a paragraph and I will explain it as we do in class. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Noor, why don't you start?
Okay, ma'am. The Ransom of Red Chief. We now read the story to find out what actually happens. We were down south in Alabama. Bill Driscoll and myself when this kidnapping idea struck us. Bill and me had a joint capital of about $600 and we needed just $2,000 more to buy some land. There was a town hmm?
Continue.
There was a town down there called Summit, a kidnapping project out to do better at Summit since there the love of children was strong and it was semi-rural semi-rural community. They couldn't get after us with anything stronger than constables.
All right. Okay,
We
so okay, stop here. Now, the writer he says that where were they at this time when all this happened? They were down south in Alabama, and there were two people, Brill Driscoll and the writer or the narrator himself. And when this idea of kidnapping it struck us, so there were two people, the narrator and the other person is named as Bill Driscoll, and Bill and the narrator they together had a money which they wanted to invest, which the money which you want to invest in buying a property, or you want to start a business with. So they had a joint capital of about $600, and they needed uh, $2,000 more, and they needed $2,000 more to buy some land, and so they thought of kidnapping. And there was a town which was known as Summit, and they thought that this kidnapping thing will work well in Summit, because in this place it was a semi rural, not exactly an urban community, not totally an urban community, it was semi rural. People belonging to village side means it was uh, little urban and little rural, so it was both, so it was semi rural. And so because in such communities the love for children is very strong, So they thought that here the love of children would be very strong, and if we kidnap a child and then ask for the ransom, then the parents would be uh, very eager to pay it off and get their child back, because they would love their children very much. And then one more reason was because it was semi rural, so even the law and order and the police department, it was also not very properly established there, and there were only constables found there. So even if they get to know that who was behind this kidnapping, then also there will be only constable behind their back and not any senior police official. Okay, Siddhant, continue. Siddhant, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hurry up. Start.
Ma'am, we selected for a victim the only child of a prominent citizen named
Ebenezer.
Ebenezer Dorset. The father was a respectable man in the building trade. The kid was a boy of 10. Bill and me figured that Ebenezer would melt down for a ransom of $2,000. About 2 miles from Summit was a little mountain covered with dense cedar. Behind this mountain was a cave. There we stored provisions. One evening we drove in a cart past old Dorset's house. The kid was in the street throwing rocks at a kitten.
All right.
Hey little boy,
Okay, complete this.
hey little boy, says Bill. Would you like to have a bag of candy and a ride?
Okay. So uh, they needed a child, so they needed a victim, and for the victim, they selected the child of a very prominent person in that area, and the name of that person was Ebenezer Dorset. And this person, he was a very respectable man in the building trade, in the real estate department, not exactly real estate, construction department. So his father was a very respectable man in the construction or the building department, and his boy was 10 years old. And Bill and the narrator, they thought that if they kidnapped Ebenezer's boy, then he would be ready to pay them $2,000 as a ransom. And so about 2 miles from this town Summit, there was a little mountain, and it was covered with dense cedar. So it was a cedar wood or cedar tree forest, and it is a type of tree, cedar, like you have teak trees and uh, mango trees. There can be so many types of trees, and so cedar was also a very famous type of tree. And so it was covered with cedar, and behind this mountain was a cave, and they thought that this cave would be a very nice place for them to hide. And so they stored their utilities, food and drinks, means for themselves there. And one evening they drove in a cart, and they passed Dorset's house, and the kid, he was in the street, and he was throwing rocks at a kitten. So Bill said to him that, hey little boy, that would you like to have a bag of candy and a ride along with us in the cart? Yes, now Ashita, read. Ashita, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, better read.
The boy almost hit Bill in the eye with a piece of brick. That boy put a fight like a bear, but at least we got him down in the car and drove away. We took him up to the cave and I tied the horse in the wood. After dark, I drove back the car to the little village where we had hired it and walked back to the mountain. When I got back, there was a fire burning at the entrance of the cave, and the boy was watching a pot of boiling coffee with two tail feathers stuck in his red eye, in his red hair. He appointed a stick at me and said, "Ha! Do you dare to enter the camp of Red Chief, the terror of the plains?"
Okay,
"He is all
and
right now," said Bill.
all right, and so when Bill asked the little boy that, do you want a ride for and a bag of candy? So the boy, very now, with only with this much introduction, we could get to know that he was a very notorious and very naughty boy, and so he almost hit Bill in the eye with a piece of brick, because he was hitting the kittens with these pieces of brick, and so he almost hit Bill also with a stone or with a piece of a brick. Now, when they tried to kidnap him, the boys, he put up a fight like a bear. So, like bears are very ferocious animals, and they can fight like anything. And so the boy, he also put up a fight like a bear, and but finally, because they were like big men, so they finally got him down in the cart and drove away, and they took the boy to the cave, and the narrator, he tied the horse in the wood, and after dark, what he did, he drove back the cart, uh, which he has taken from there. He has hired it, he has rented it, and so he went back to the village to return it, and then walked the way back home to the mountain. And when the narrator got back to the cave, there was a fire burning at the entrance. If you can see that in the picture, at the entrance of the cave, and the boy, he was watching. So on that fire there was a pot, and it had boiling coffee in it. And then if you can see, the boy, he has two tail feathers. Tail feathers could be of any bird there, and he had these two tail feathers stuck in his red hair. So the boy was a red haired, uh, and then he pointed, as soon as the narrator, he went there, so he pointed a stick at him and said that, yes, do you dare to enter the camp of Red Chief? And then how he describes the Red Chief, that he is the terror of the plains, means because they were like they're in the mountains, so he's saying that everyone in the plains is afraid of Red Chief. And so Bill, the other person who was involved in this kidnapping, he said that he is all right now. And so Bill, he rolled up his trousers and examined that there were some bruises on his leg, because the boy, he has put up a very valiant fight. And then Bill says that, now we are playing Red Indian, we are playing Indian, and I am Old Hank. So the boy, he is 10 years old also, so he started his play also. He is not much concerned that he is being kidnapped, and he is not taking it seriously. So what he is saying, he started a play, and then they were playing Indian, and he gave the name of Old Hank, the trapper, and he was captive of Red Chief. And who was Red Chief? The small boy of 10 years, he was the Red Chief, and all the plains were in terror or in fear of him. And his captive or his victim was the Old Hank, that is Bill. And then Bill says that this boy, though he's only 10 years old, but he can kick very hard. And now he's saying, yes sir, means the boy, he was having fun, he was having the time of his life, means real fun he was having. And as soon as he saw the narrator, he gave him the name of Snake Eye, that is the spy. And then the boy announced that tomorrow the Snake Eye, he would be broiled. See the meaning? Broiled, that he will be cooked at the stake at the rising of the sun, means early in the morning, Snake Eye would be boiled. And at the stake, now stake is a wooden or a metal type of handle in which the pot is hung, so that it can be near fire and things can be boiled in the pot. So he said that early the next morning, Snake Eye, he would be broiled or boiled in the pot. That means he would be executed or he would be killed. And then after that, they had supper. Now the boy, he filled his mouth with the bread and meat and gravy, and then he began to talk. It is said that when we have food in our mouth, we should not talk, but the boy, he did otherwise. And when his mouth was full of food, then he started to talk, and his dinner speech was something like this. And it was all mixed up because he's a small boy, just 10 years old, and even much younger than you all. uh, and so let's see what he talks about. I like this fine means he's saying that he's liking what is happening, and he goes on to tell them that he had never camped out before. So for him it was not like a kidnapping, it was like a camping out. And then he tells that he has a pet cat, and last year he was 9 years old. And then he told that he did not like going to school. Then another story that rats that they ate up 16 of Jimmy Tabbitt's aunt's speckled hen's eggs. Then he asked that he was playing Indian, and then he says, "Are there real Indians in these woods or in these forests?" And then he wanted some more gravy. Then he told that he whipped means he kicked someone, hit someone, that is Ed Walker, twice on the Saturday. Then another question he had, that why are oranges round? Then he asked that in this cave do you have beds to sleep on? And then some information that Amos Murray has got 6 toes. Then he asks them that a parrot can talk, but a monkey or a fish can't. And so this boy is full of life, very active, very naughty, and mouth full of food. And then he is asking so many questions, telling about so many things. And then every few minutes, the boy, he would remember that who he was, that he was an Indian. And then he let out a war cry. Means the people, these red Indians, when they went out for war, so very loud cry they used to make out, a sound very, they used to shout in a very shrill voice. And this boy also did the same. And so he let out a war cry every time, every few minutes, when he remembered that he was a Indian. And the boy had Bill terrorized from the start. And Bill, instead of the boy being terrorized by his kidnappers, the kidnapper was being terrorized by the boy. Now Bill was really afraid and terrorized from the boy. Okay, now Mishti, read.
Red Chief, said I to the kid, would you like to go home? Oh, for what for? Says he. I don't have any fun at home. I hate to go to school. I like to camp out. You won't take me back home again, Snake Eye, will you? Not right away, said I. We'll stay here in the cave a while. I never had such fun in all my life, said he. We went to bed about 11 o'clock. We spread down some white blankets and quilts and put Red Chief between us. He kept us awake for 3 hours. At last, I fell into a troubled sleep and dreamed that I had been kidnapped and chained to a tree by a ferocious pirate with red hair. Just at daybreak, I was awakened by terrifying, humiliating screams from Bill. I jumped up to see what the matter was. Red Chief was sitting on Bill's chest with one hand twined in Bill's hair. In the other, he had the sharp case knife we used for slicing bacon, and he was trying to take Bill's scalp according to the punishment that had been given to him the evening before. I got the knife away from the kid and made him lie down again. But from that moment, Bill's spirit was broken.
All right. Okay. So uh, then the narrator, he said to the kid, Red Chief, that would you like to go home? So the boy is like that, no, why would I like to go home? And at home I don't have any fun, and I even hate going to school. And he said that I'd like it out here, camping out. And then he pleads Snake Eye that please don't take me back to my home. And he says that you won't take me back, means he did not wanted to go back home. And so Snake Eye said, no, right away I won't take you back home, and we'll stay here in the cave for a while. And then the boy is like that, I never had so much fun in my life before. And then around 11 o'clock they went to bed. And so they had some white blankets and they spread, and they had quilts. And so Bill and the narrator, they slept on the sides with Red Chip between them. And means he was so full of words and life that he kept on talking, and for 3 hours he kept them awake. And at last the narrator, he fell into a troubled sleep, and in his sleep what he dreamed, that he had been kidnapped and chained to a tree by a ferocious pirate who had red hair. And if you remember, the boy also was red haired. So the kidnappers now were being terrorized by the small boy. And just at daybreak, means day was about to begin, the narrator, he was awakened, and there were terrifying, humiliating screams from his other partner, that was Bill. And so he was sleeping, he simply jumped up to see that what was the matter. And what he saw, that Red Chief, this boy, he was sitting on, if you see this picture, he was sitting on his chest, and he has one hand entwined in Bill's hair. So with one hand he was holding Bill's hair, and in the other he had a knife which they use for slicing the bacon. And then he was trying to take Bill's scalp, so he was trying to cut away his head. And this was the punishment that Red Chief gave him the evening before. And so the narrator, somehow he got the knife from the kid and again made him lie down. But from that moment on, now Bill's spirits was broken. Now he was really, really afraid of this little boy. Alright, so I think we should stop here. The time's up for this class today. So have you all understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
So like the
Yes,
story?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will continue with it tomorrow, and you can go through the chapter. If there's anything you don't like, you can ask, and you can underline the difficult words also in this chapter. Alright, all of you?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.